Hey everyone, in Path of Exile Settlers of Kalguur, there have been major changes to the game's meta, including the League starter builds. This has left many players unsure of what to choose. And so today I want to share 3 strong and safe Settlers of Kalguur League starter builds that can successfully reach endgame with budget gear. These builds do not require specific items and offer diverse and enjoyable gameplay. First up, let's talk about my potential league starter for 3.25, and the only build that I haven't played on this list. With the recent Gladiator and Bleed reworks, as well as skill buffs, there have been a lot of new opportunities for builds within this ascendancy. One of these is the Bleed Spectral Shield Throw Gladiator. The main feature of this build is the shield. You can expect to charge through packs of monsters like a real gladiator and leap slam with great agility. You'll be throwing a spectral version of your shield that causes enemies to bleed and explode upon death. This build takes advantage of some of the new gladiator nodes such as jagged technique and allows you to inflict aggravated bleeding, causing enemies to take increased damage over time from your bleeds, and gratuitous, which makes enemies explode upon death, dealing 20% of their maximum health as damage around them. This build offers excellent clearing and bossing capabilities. Defensively, this build is very sturdy. With the new changes, we will prioritise block, spell block, and lucky block. Getting block now requires very little investment and opens up more defensive layers such as endurance charges and suppression. An interesting mechanic with Lucky Block is that, although block is numerically capped at 75%, with Lucky Block, the game calculates the mechanic by rolling the value twice and choosing the more favourable outcome. This effectively results in approximately 93.75% chance to block at the default cap. So, even though you technically don't have a 94% chance to block, figuratively it's very close. And this is why the Gladiator's ease of block and spell block will be such a huge advantage in 3.25. In essence, this build will be a great starter as it will easily achieve quick clear speed and robust tankiness with budget gear, allowing you to progress quickly and safely through the game's early to mid endgame content, accumulating currency and providing tons of fun. This build will also be strong at the endgame if you are willing to dedicate more resources to optimize it. If you are interested in trying out this build, I recommend checking out the British Exiles channel, as he is a long-time Bleed Spectral Shield Throw build designer and is currently working on a build guide for 3.25. Alternatively, there have been rumours of none other than Zizaran himself working on a build guide for this build, so keep your eye out for that. Next up, let's talk about the explosive trap of Shrapnel Trickster. I played this build last league and it's a real game changer. This build makes use of whirling blades and frostblink to swiftly move around the map, blinking into groups of enemies, freezing them and then blowing them up with multiple explosions. It's a critical strike build, so focusing on increasing your critical strike chance and multiplier is crucial, along with spell, fire and physical damage. When I played it, I was able to achieve around 16 million hit DPS with all explosions hitting, and 5 million hit DPS with average explosions hitting. The build also capitalizes on power, frenzy, endurance and inspiration charges, providing significant offensive and defensive advantages. Defensively, it prioritizes evasion, suppression and is a blend of life and energy shield. This build enables easy acquisition of spell suppression thanks to its ascendancy. It synergizes with energy shield thanks to the node Spell Breaker. Other nodes also provide great recovery, and because this build is ranged, it results in an all-around tanky build. While it's sturdy against most types of damage, be cautious when facing chaos damage as it bypasses energy shield. This build truly shines when facing bosses and allowed me to conquer tier 17 maps within the first few weeks of the last league, demonstrating its strength. It's worth noting that this build heavily revolves around trap skills, so it may not appeal to everyone. However, with the transfigured version of Explosive Trap, this build offers exceptional clearing and boss killing capabilities. Even before obtaining the transfigured version, the build still performs admirably, with the only real drawback being a slight impact on clear speed. One downside of this build is its high mana consumption, particularly due to the rapid cast speed required for trap skills. However, there are established ways to manage this issue, so you won't have to figure it out on your own. If you are interested in trying out this build, I recommend checking out Fearless Dumbo's channel. He's uploaded numerous videos about it, including detailed POBs. Keep an eye out for a new 3.25 ready version of this build. Lastly, let's discuss the Boneshatter Juggernaut or Slayer, an unstoppable barbarian that crushes the skulls of enemies, granting trauma stacks and boosting the damage of your next strike, but in return also damaging yourself as the ruthless warrior you are. I played this build a few leagues back and it was a powerful force. Equipped with a massive two-handed weapon, you'll want to focus on investing in physical damage, attack speed and high trauma stacks. This build is possibly one of the fastest mappers in the game, clearing entire screens of enemies with each strike of Boneshatter and allowing you to move around with incredible speed due to the high attack speed in coalition with Leap Slam. The difference between choosing Juggernaut or Slayer is that Juggernaut is much tankier, while the Slayer deals a bit more damage and has slightly better recovery. The choice ultimately comes down to your preferred playstyle. Both versions are completely viable and strong. This armor stacker might as well be a slab of steel, and with the changes to endurance applying damage reduction to not only physical damage but now also elemental damage, the build is even more tanky. Additionally, the armor you have takes some of the damage from elemental sources thanks to the node Unbreakable. A couple drawbacks are that this build is known to lack single target damage and be mana hungry. However, similarly to the Explosive Trap of Shrapnel Trickster, there are well established ways to deal with this, so you don't have to figure it out on your own. With the melee buffs coming in 3.25, we might see a positive change in the single target damage of Boneshatter. In conclusion, this build will be one of the best for dominating the league start and accruing currency to fund your most ambitious projects. Not only that, but it has been well established and respected within the community for a long time, so there are numerous guides available from various creators, and most players in the game have played it at least once and will be willing to help. If you are interested in trying this build out, I recommend checking out in-depth guides from content creators such as Zizaran, Tripola Bear or Big Ducks. That then sums up my list of 3 strong and safe league starters for Settlers of Kalguur. These are not necessarily the best options, but they are great recommendations for anyone seeking some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching this video, I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, and I'll see you washed ashore on the beach of Rayclast on the 26th of July. Stay exiled.